Hey guys, Apex War here. This is a Black Ops 4 video, so changing it up a little bit. Been a big fan of the Black Ops franchise, and this game's no different. Been having a blast with this and been playing it a lot lately. So with any Call of Duty game, you know, the trick for me is trying to find the class setup that works for me. I think that's pretty much the same case for everybody. And it came down to, for me, between two guns, and that's the last two assault rifles you unlock, the VAPR and the Maddox. Generally speaking, the Maddox excels better at close range because it's got a quicker time to kill. And at longer ranges, the VAPR takes over because of its range and requiring one less bullet to get the kill at range. So, not to mention, you can throw a long barrel on the VAPR and extend that range. So, for me, it came down to mid-range. Okay, what performs better at mid-range? I can adjust my playstyle for close or long range. But what's going to win in mid-range, because it's primarily where I do most of my work. In doing that, I wanted to analyze recoil pattern. I guess depending on that range of the of mid-range gunfight, if they're a little bit closer, yeah, the Maddox is going to win on time to kill. And if it's a little bit longer, that's where the VAPR requires one less bullet for the kill, so that becomes the quickest time to kill. But I wanted to look at, okay, which gun can I land my bullets with consistently at mid-range, and so for that I wanted to do a side-by-side recoil pattern comparison, looking at all the different scopes of both guns, because the scopes make a big difference when it comes to recoil pattern. So you will see that here in the little testing on firing range, and kind of walk through what I saw. Alright, first up is the VAPR with the reflex sight. As you see, the recoil pattern goes left, then up, and left again, which makes that a bit more difficult to manage. And I consider this mid-range here from about here to that number 2. So definitely was not a fan of the VAPR with the reflex sight. So I wanted to see, okay, what's the Maddox do? The Maddox with the reflex sight goes up and then kind of sways between left and right as it's going up. You see that there. It's a little bit more manageable for sure, but still not ideal for a mid-range gunfight, especially if you're going for the headshots. Another popular sight is the ELO sight, so this is the VAPR with the ELO sight. As you see, recoil pattern is pretty much the same as it was with the reflex sight, left, up, left. Next up here is the Maddox with the ELO sight, which is a popular combination due to the assault rifle being really good at close range and this being a very good close range sight. As you see, pretty much the same recoil pattern. Now I do believe this is a little bit tighter than the VAPR with those two sights, but still goes up. Now this is the VAPR with the recon scope. Remember what I was saying before, how the sights make a big difference on recoil pattern? This is a massive difference between the previous two sights on this gun. This recon scope stays on target at mid-range. It's actually quite impressive, and this gun being good at mid and long ranges is an ideal sight. Last up is the dual zoom scope on the Maddox, and as you see, it's definitely a lot tighter. It does go up and then still sway side to side just above that number 2, but still performs decently well. It's definitely not the laser that the VAPR is with the recon scope though. So here we've got some gameplay with the Maddox with the dual zoom scope. As you see, the recoil is very manageable, especially given the quick time to kill, but still not as quick of time to kill at a lot of mid-ranges and longer range, because it requires one extra bullet over the VAPR to get the kill, so it's a little bit slower than the VAPR, and like I said, it doesn't quite stay on target as well as the VAPR at this range, but at close range still dominates. Now I realize I didn't show the holographic scope testing on firing range. It is pretty much identical to the reflex sight recoil pattern, so just keep that in mind if you're looking at this and you know, the holographic scope is your scope. It performs just like the reflex sight, just a little bit more zoom. Also during the weapon testing, I did use the Quick Draw 2 for the Maddox, and that's to give you more peripherals when you're aiming down sight, which I think is ideal for the Maddox because of its ability to be very good at close range. I feel like that's a great weapon attachment for this gun, but as you see here, it still performs very well at mid-range. At longer ranges, you can tap the trigger and be successful with it, but like I said, with the VAPR, you just really don't have to tap the trigger. You can just hold it down and get the kills. But you see the tap the trigger here and get the kill. Now this gun is still a beast at close range, even with the dual zoom scope. So don't let that sway you, especially with the quick draw 2 to give you better peripherals. This gun is still a monster at close range with this scope on there. So don't let the scope sway you from not using it because it's a longer zoom scope. It still performs amazingly at close range. A few more kills here in this clip, and I'll switch over to some VAPR gameplay. But something I want to point out is what the weapon attachments for both of these guns kind of feed into the Maddox being a close range gun, with the laser sight, your quick draw 1 and 2, all kind of goes into being a good close range gun and attachment set up for that, where the VAPR has the recon scope and the long barrel for long range gunfights. So those weapon attachments definitely play a part in the roles of these guns. Winds up for the hit, and he whiffs. Now, ultimately, the reason why I chose the VAPR over the Maddox is for shots like that. This thing can thread a needle, and it does it consistently. I get shots like that all the time, just about every match. So it's a laser. It stays on target. As long as your aim is good, this gun is going to put people down at just about any range. Now, as far as close range engagements, this gun will hold its own for sure, but it will be outperformed by the Maddox. But don't let that turn you away from this gun, because this gun definitely holds its own at close range and easily beats out the Maddox at longer ranges. So that's why I personally went with this gun. The recon scope can be a little bit awkward at close range. I felt like the stock helped greatly with that, so that you get good movement speed while you are aiming down sight at close range. So that definitely helps with it, but it can be a little awkward, I'll give it that. Like I said, mid-range and long-range, this gun shreds, and that's where I typically play, so that's why I chose this gun ultimately over the Maddox. Here's an example of the recon scope being a little awkward at close range, but like I said, slap on a stock and it'll be just fine. And yeah, I'll leave you with the rest of the gameplay. Hit the like and subscribe buttons below. I'll be probably doing some more Black Ops 4 stuff. I've been having a lot of fun with this, a lot of success, so I will definitely share some of my findings, and so stay tuned for more. And I'll also be putting out some other material as well, so keep that in mind, and stay tuned. Thanks for watching all. Where do you think you're going? Come here, Cujo. Laser. Hello there. Someone will be stupid enough to run through this. Don't mind me just dropping in. Ignore this bad hellstorm. Told ya. Laser.